Hello and welcome to episode 51 of the What Shara Made podcast. I have not been doing a whole lot of knitting since I last saw you, so this episode's going to be short and sweet, but I thought I should show you a few different things that I have been up to. Now, you might have seen a little bit of this in the last episode, but this is my next piece for the Issy socks, which is my new brioche socks pattern that is coming out very, very soon. I've got all the notes back from my testers now and they were amazing. It was just brilliant. So I've got this. It's actually a lot more vibrant in real life. I don't know why this yellow colour doesn't show up well on the screen, but it doesn't. They're a lot more sunshiny. Almost a marigold colour. But that is that one. So I've got a sort of a half object because I've got that one done and I'm just up to the gusset on picking up for the gusset on this second one, and I cannot wait to finish them because I'm trying to be really, really good and not cast on too many more new things until I have some of my present whips under control, and I'm getting there. So that's my Issy socks, and you'll see an announcement on Instagram as usual when these come out, when the pattern is released, and that should be any day now, I believe, so I'm really excited about that. They've been so much fun to work on and find different colours to go together in the brioche, and yeah, really enjoying that. I wish this colour would show up properly on screen because it's so beautiful. Love it, really enjoying those. So that's my Issy socks, and that's my one and only whip that I've got to show you this week because it's the only thing I've been working on recently. My next thing, you might remember this from the last episode, and it was sort of you really couldn't tell what it was in the last episode, but now it is finito. So that is my vest, and as you can see it's got a tiny little bit of shaping here in the back with some ribbing, and you've got the brioche border here. I'll put it on and show you. A few little things have changed in the actual finished pattern that are a little bit different in this one, but it's much the same. So you can roll, I don't know if you can see it rolled that little bit down. You can do a full roll over and just have the whole thing rolled down, so you've got your brioche colour showing entirely, or have it all the way up and have that in too, and just have that warming your neck there, like that. So just have a little bit rolled over like that. So let me stand up and show you. So you've got this sort of style. It's short, it sits just above the hips, or just sitting on my hips, but for people who are a normal adult height it will sit just above the hips, and it's really cozy, and I've been wearing it around the house, although this one's actually a size smaller than I would normally make for myself if I was to make it, but because of my calculations of my yardage, I knew I probably wouldn't be able to make the size that would be for me, so I'm going to give this one to someone else and make myself one that fits better. And I don't know if you remember me talking about in the last episode, this yarn here is a discontinued yarn from Oyster Yarns, and it's really beautiful, but I only had 2 100 gram skeins of it and I can't get it again, so I had to make sure I was knitting a size that was actually going to get completed with that amount of yarn of the main colour. And this beautiful green colour, I don't think I mentioned it in the last episode, but my god, it's beautiful. And that is Caterpillar from Lovebird Lane Yarns, formerly My Muddlings. And I'm hanging on to that skein because it is so gorgeous. You can get a better look at it there. So beautiful. Because it's so gorgeous, I didn't want to waste it. I wanted to make something really gorgeous with it, and I think that was a beautiful match, those two colours together. It's not really striking contrast, but they go together beautifully. So that is my little vest with the brioche border, and you can see if you did want to, you could sort of put a little pin there if that was the style you're going for. I probably wouldn't wear it with this t-shirt because they don't really go together very well. You could put a little pin there, or even make a little buttonhole in the I-cord when you were binding off if you wanted to, or you could make a larger size and you would actually be able to put a shawl pin through there if you weren't like stretching it across your bust like I am there. So I'm really happy with that, and I'm looking forward to finding some yarn to make myself another one in a more appropriate size, although this one's not uncomfortable to wear or anything, but I was hoping it might come a little closer in, but not necessarily cross over at the front, just sit open like that. Really enjoying it. Loving it. So that is the next pattern that's going to come out after the Issy socks and the Fernshore shawl, and we'll be calling for testers for this one soonish, and I'm really happy with it, really enjoying it, but I'm absolutely boiling because even though it's well and truly autumn, we are having a really warm couple of days, and I've just walked back from town and I'm still a little bit hot and sweaty. It's really warm out there. It's sort of a little bit overcast, but it's really warm. There's a warm breeze. It's really, really warm. But tomorrow, the weather is meant to go really bad, and we're even expecting snow on Wednesday, so that's going to be interesting, but perfect opportunity to rug up in like full knitwear. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. So, last episode you would have seen me showing you the fabrics for the quilt that I plan to make. Well, I've made that quilt and it didn't take very long, but I wonder how well I can show you. Oh yeah, you get a pretty good idea of it there. Now, it's a baby size quilt. It's approximately 85 centimetres by 85 centimetres, or 33 inches by 33 inches. And I used the blush quilt pattern, and as you can see, if you're familiar with that pattern, it's not the whole version of it. I just used one of the blocks and I enlarged it to make this baby size quilt, and it's just this colour on the back plain. I'm so happy with it. Oh god, I absolutely love it. So excited when it started to come together. Now, I did have a few hiccups. I'd cut out all my pieces and I was so proud of myself that they were all done and ready and waiting for me to start sewing together. And then I started looking at them and I thought, that doesn't seem quite right. And one of the shapes I had cut out the wrong size, and I'd cut out like 24 of them or something, and then they were all the wrong size. Like, oh my goodness, okay. So I cut them all out again and went to start sewing, only to discover I had cut them out the incorrect size again. So by that stage, I was starting to run out of fabric. So I had to patch together some of this colour because I had run out of that fabric. So I had to patch together some of the incorrect sizes and then make bigger pieces to cut the correct size out of. Oh god. So because of course the incorrect sizes I cut out were too small, they weren't like they were too big and I could just trim them down, not like that. So that was a bit of a learning curve. But it didn't matter in the end, and it's really hasn't made too much difference at all. I'm trying to find a piece of the, look, this one here has got patches, you know, so there's multiple patches within that patch, but you can't tell, and I really had to look then to find it. It's no big deal at all, and thankfully it wasn't a particularly bold print or anything like that, so you couldn't tell really dramatically that there were patches within that patch or anything, so that's all good. And it's better than wasting fabric, that's for sure. So that was okay, and some of my points line up really beautifully, and I was really excited to have those match up pretty much perfectly, and others are not quite as precise. But you know, that's all part of learning and getting used to the way the pieces interact together and things like that. So I was totally happy with that. I'm really in love with it, and the more I look at it, the more I love it. Just, yeah, I've been having it hang up in my bedroom so that when I'm laying in bed I can look at it. But I will give it a wash and I will put it away ready for my friend's little baby who is due in July, I think, and this will be for him. So I'm really, really excited, and I am busting to start my next quilt. Oh my god, this was so much fun. And you know what I think my favourite bit was? Hand stitching the binding on. Mad for it. I couldn't get enough of it. Once I'd finished doing this one, I'm literally looking around the house for other things I could hand stitch. But I didn't find anything, so I just had to suit myself with some knitting. But I really enjoyed that. So because I enjoyed that hand stitching so much, I'm thinking maybe I want to get into a little bit of English paper piecing. I've done that before as a kid and I really enjoyed it then. And I think I'll do some more. I got some really sweet fabrics from the Australian Quilt Convention in Melbourne last week, and I think I'll do English paper piecing with those. I'm not quite sure what I'll do with it or how big it will get, but I don't know, maybe it'll be a bag or a cushion or maybe even a project bag, I don't know. And I can see definitely ways of using up small bits of precious fabric to make project bags for my knitting, so I can incorporate both my crafty loves. That was that finished object. Now, like I just said, I went to the Australian Quilt Convention in Melbourne last week, and it was amazing. Like, it seriously blew my mind. They have all the stalls, like vendors, that you can buy things from for your quilting crafting needs, but they also have a big exhibition of prize-winning quilts there as well, and oh my goodness, they were so good. Hopefully I'll be able to add some into this podcast, possibly here. Maybe. The theme for one of the sections was Australian fauna or Australian made or something to do with Australia, as you can see from the native animals in those quilts, and they were so beautiful. I loved all the different types and sorts and the different ways you could interpret the same idea, and that was, oh god, that was so amazing. Not only were they beautiful to look at, but the skill involved was just phenomenal. It was so exciting to see it up close and live and really beautiful. And they had some prize-winning quilts from the world, I don't even know what it's called, but a big competition where they just have the best quilters from all over the world who enter. But don't ask me to tell you any more facts about that because I don't know. But the woman that won the Worldwide Quilting Championships or whatever it was, made this quilt. Can you believe it? Oh my god. So a close-up of that quilt is here. How amazing is that? Like, I don't know how she did it. Well, I sort of do, but I don't. Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed. But how did she think of where to put all those colours and figure that out and think that up and get it to work so beautifully? I would love to pick her brains about that because it's just so amazing. And the woman that made that is actually an Australian. She's from Tasmania. So that was pretty cool. And another thing that I did while I was at the Australian Quilt Convention was I met one of my favourite crafters in the world, and her name is Angela Walters, and she's also known as the Midnight Quilter. And if you go to the Craftsy YouTube channel, you'll find her videos there, and she's really fun and cool and so talented. Oh, she's so brilliant, love her. Anyway, she was there, and when I first saw her, I was too shy to go up and say hello. But then a little while later, a really lovely woman spotted me and said hello to me because she watches my podcast. Hello. And I said to her I was too shy to go and say hello to Angela, and she said, well, I just came and said hello to you, so you should go and say hello to her. And I was like, oh, of course, you're right, I totally should. So I went back and found Angela and I said hello, and she was just as delightful in real life as she is online, and just as delightful as I imagined her to be, and it was so nice. And I picked her brains a little bit about some things and told her that I was a brand new quilter. At that stage I had just finished my very first quilt top, hadn't put it together, like as in sandwiched it together to quilt it or anything, I'd just done the top. So I got to tell her that, and she was excited for me, and that was brilliant. So that was pretty exciting. But that's all, and as I do things with the little tiny haul from the quilt show, I will show them to you as I do them. Now, the next thing I need to talk about is our Aussie Cal, our Aussie Along. It is almost finished. It's the 24th of April as I'm speaking to you right now. And you've got until the 30th of April to put your FOs in the FO thread in my Ravelry group, and you can find a link to the Ravelry group in the down bar below. And I have got prizes for both the FO thread and the chatter thread. So if you've got anything that's almost finished or you have finished, pop it in that thread and I'll be use either of those threads. So if it's a FO, put it in the FO thread. If you don't quite finish it, put it in the chatter thread, so you've still got a chance to win something lovely. The prizes will be drawn using, or the winners will be drawn using random number generator, and I will do that probably on the next episode, I'd say. And I still haven't shown you what the prize is, but I can tell you it consists of a project bag, some yarn and some stitch markers. And for the chatter thread, I still haven't decided what that prize will be, but it'll be something beautiful. And I will do that, yeah, probably next episode, so it'll be after the 1st of May. And I think that's everything I've got to talk about now. Tomorrow is Anzac Day for Australia and New Zealand, and that is sort of like Memorial Day in America, I think. It's when we remember our soldiers, fallen soldiers, and those who fought and came back. Anzac stands for Australia and New Zealand Army Corps, and we have a dawn service, which is before sunrise. And most towns have a war memorial, and we have one here in my town. And then they have another service later in the morning, and then they have some other services throughout the day, and other special activities. And my nephew is going to be playing his trombone at our mid-morning presentation memorial service in town, so I will be going to watch that, and I'll be thinking of my granddad who fought in the Second World War and was a prisoner of war, and we have some pretty interesting memorabilia from him, and we have some really good photos of his as well. And if I can find one, I might put it in here, but I might not be able to find it, so I don't count on that. But I think that's everything. I will look forward to seeing you all again really soon, and I hope you get a bit more crafting done yourself than I did in the last 2 weeks. So I will chat again to you soon, and thanks for joining me. Bye.